Okay, hi, welcome back. This is our second unboxing of the evening. If you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on YouTube, then welcome to Alternate Reality Week. And I say that because I'm presenting tonight rather than Dave, and we aren't doing a fantasy role-playing game. We are, in fact, doing a sci-fi week this week. So our previous video, one we did earlier tonight, was for the Starfinder Beginners books, and tonight we're going to do another sci-fi themed RPG. This one is slightly different, as much it's not a D20 system. So with no further ado, we'll get straight into it.
What was that? What was that heresy there, Steve? It's not a D20 system.
It's not a D20 system.
What is this random magic infested thing you have?
So this is Coriolis, the Third Horizons, to be exact. And if I pull the book up a little bit, you'll see that. I'm trying to pull the tablecloth off the table. Coriolis Third Horizon. So as you know, because you was with me, I picked this up at Dragon Meet in November last year. So the current date is July 2020.
Yes, and so I was just going to say, so that was 2019 we picked them up, but they have confirmed a date for this year. We are in December 2020 for the next Dragon Meet. So we hope to get there and see some more.
Yes, and we'll say that the free guys for this is Free League Publishing, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Free League Publishing, the guys at Dragon Meet are some of the nicest people you could ever meet. We spent quite a lot of time talking about their products. So if Dave shifts to the right or left in a little bit, you'll see that behind him is box for Forbidden Planet, which is one of their other products. Again, not a D20 based system, a D6 based system. They also produce Mutant Year Zero and the Alien RPG, which I also have, and we may do an unboxing for that another time. However, we're here to talk about Coriolis Third Horizon. Now, in the front of the book, and this is got some heft to it, and I'll see if I can get it to show you, and we can't.
No, it's got an orbit,
so
Steve.
I'll try and show you here. That is how thick this book is.
Wow.
It's got some real weight to it. So I'm going to have to...
It did look gorgeous. I was very, very jealous that you picked this up because I wanted to buy everything. And we did between us. But,
we did, yeah. So the opening cover to this book is a star map. And this is the map of the Third Horizon. Now, the premise for this is that Earth has been overpopulated, and the population of Earth have left. There's been a diaspora. So that all happened a very, very long time in the past, and started with a few arc ships leaving Earth. So they're slow and light vehicles, and they went off into the dark between the stars, and that is a theme that goes with the rest of this game as well. The dark between the stars is sort of sinister interstellar space where things can happen, and accidents occur, and all sorts of dark and demonic deeds go on. However, after these arc ships left Earth, portals started to appear. So if you watch The Expanse, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. Is this mysterious entity that they just refer to as portal builders? These portals appeared and allowed humanity to spread throughout the universe much faster than the speed of light. So there was First Horizon, that was the first peoples to leave Earth, and the Second Horizon, then finally the Third Horizon, which is on the far outer fringes of space. Now there was a war. There was lots of factions. There are lots of factions in this game. And the portals to the Second and the First Horizons were closed forever. So this is an area of space which is completely cut off from its home on Earth. And the game begins a certain period after one of the arc ships called Zenith turns up in this area of space. So you have people that have traveled there by portals, established these civilizations on these various worlds that are detailed on this map, and then an arc ship turns up with people that have been in hypersleep, and several millennia of travel turned up, and humanity is advanced beyond what they recognize. So they set up camp in their starship into a space station that takes on the name Coriolis, and that is really where the name of the game comes from, because it is the central point of the setting, the Coriolis space station, which satellite around the planet of Kuar, which is like a jungle planet, and there's lots of things on that planet that relate to the portal builders and stuff like that. So this is a game that has a lot of mysticism in it. So this is why when we was doing our Starfinder video earlier, I referred to this as more Star Wars and less Star Trek. So that's it in a nutshell. Now, this book, the paper in this book is glorious. It's really high threads. This has almost got a sort of cottony feel to it, this particular page with a star map on it. And then within the book itself, we have the more glossy pages that you are used to. Now, there is huge amount of content in this book. There is, all of the details around the systems, as well as all of the rules around character creation, and yes, David, spaceships.
Hey.
The first thing you do in this game as players is decide your concept, not for your character, but for your group. Okay, so you start this game by deciding whether you want to be merchants, mercenaries, pirates, whatever you want.
Bounty hunters.
Exactly. So this is a game that's driven by a group dynamic.
That's more accurate than you think. We're gonna be space pirates. No, it's Red Dwarf.
Someone has to be Cat. Ow!
So a little bit of history here, and I really like this that they've included this in this book. So this is a little note that's been penned by the creator. So he says in this preface that this game, not this version of it, but the previous version of it, which I believe was D20 based back in 2008, is what got him back into role playing. And he was just so infused with the concept of this high space opera. And I'll jump around a little bit here, but I'll talk about more of that in a moment. He's so infused with the setting that he just wanted more. So between him and a few friends, they decided to start writing content. And they did that. They wrote content for the game. And then I believe funding for the game and the publisher went out of business. So, with the content they've been writing, they decided to set up their own company called Free League. And the reason why it's called Free League is because one of the factions in this game, and it was a community-generated faction from the last versions, what I understand from talking to the guys at Dragon Meat, is called Free League. So they named the publishing company literally after one of the factions that they themselves created in this game, which I thought was a great little bit of history into the love that the community has for this particular product. Now, as I said, Free League, or Fria League, because it's a Swedish outfit, they did Mutant Year Zero. So Mutant Year Zero uses a set of dice rules based on D6s. So you have 4 main stats and a bunch of skills that sit under those stats, and you basically have to roll D6s, okay? And the number of 6s that you score decide how well you pass or fail. So if you want to attack, you roll the number of dice on your attack skill that's driven mainly about your strength, plus any skills that you've got on, say, melee weapons or range weapons or something. And then if you get 2 6s, you score 2 hits and you do 2 points damage. So, 2 health comes off of your opponent. And then obviously if they're wearing armor, some of that damage might be absorbed, and it's all offset in that way. So it's a very simple system. It just all revolves around the number of 6s that you roll. And there is tables included in this rule book that explain, based on how many D6s you roll, what your probability is of scoring a 1. 1d6, sorry, what your probability is of scoring a 6. Now, I've got some black D6s and yellow D6s. Now, yellow D6s are important because you can decide to push the roll. So you can put yourself under stress in order to try and pass. So, if I was to roll 4d6 and didn't score any 6s, I can decide to push and get another d6. Oh, look, I got one. Jeez, that was good, wasn't it? So by pushing and stressing myself, I've managed to score a hit. However, that comes with a negative. I'm now stressed, so I have 1 stress dice, and I have to continue now rolling with the stress dice. And if I get a 1 on that stress dice, then something bad happens. Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's the basics of the system.
Okay. Considering we are in lockdown, do you really want to play a game which adds stress?
Is there cannibalism in this game?
I'm sure there could be, depending on what
Space
sort of GM you're
cannibalism.
playing with. So that's the premise of the dice system.
So
but
is this an entire book of rules, or is there adventures for this, or?
So there is a starter adventure in the back, a campaign in chapter 15. There is a bestiary in some of the earlier chapters. There is a wealth of information on the settings. There is a wealth of information on the factions. There is character creation. There is backstories about all of the religious stuff in there. It is a complete campaign rule book and setting guide and bestiary in one book.
Question for you then. We play a lot of different games. So Band of Badgers, we play all kinds of tabletop games, from role playing games to board games, and we even do a lot of computer games as well. And I've found through all that time, I like something that helps me digest the rules and the content and the stories by having smaller documentation. So in the previous unboxing, if you're watching this on YouTube, we do several in a go. You had Starfinder, and it had different booklets. So some for players, some for the game masters. This is everything in one, including adventures and content and gazettes and histories. What method do you prefer? Do you prefer a one big volume like this? I mean, it is gorgeous by the looks of it. But do you prefer? Have they missed a beat in not separating it?
Possibly, yeah. It's an intimidatingly large book. I mean, and weight as well. So if you was rolling up to a game and I've got to take this with me, that's a hefty investment in travel packing. Saying that, the book is really well laid out. So it starts with an introduction that gives you the premise of the game. So it's almost like an executive summary, and it's there on the screen now. So it says Coriolis in a nutshell. So you can read that and get a vibe for what the game is about.
I like where it says on the page that I can see, it says, "What do you do? Pray." Okay, my kind of game.
It is a big book. It's a big book, and there's no getting away from that. And maybe they would have been better at splitting it. But the quality of this, the quality of the paper, and you have to feel it to believe it, the quality of the artwork and the quality of the content for what I paid for it is really, really good. Now, if you was to split that into 4 books, you'd probably be paying more, because normally these rule books come in, you're going to be £20, and you can easily sell 4 books, or you've got in here. And would it be better laid out than it is currently? I don't know. I'm not sure it would be. The thing I liked about the Starfinder book is you've got them Ready Reckoner cards, and you've got the references on the pre-gen characters that tell you which pages to go and look at. That is very useful. Now, you could do that for this, and have those page references. And then, the fact that it is a big book, I say the intimidation goes away. One thing I do like that they do, and we'll jump through to your characters, is they walk you through on each page. So down the side, and see if I can find an example, when you start creating your character, down the side here of these pages, there are examples. So you can pick that up. Lights on it. So the example there, the example text, actually walks you through what that page is talking about during the character creation stage. And it does that in several chapters, and it has these handy little tables at the top of the page that explain some of the meaning of the words. So it's not death by language. It's not having to read a bunch of text and interpret it, there is an example of what these words say in the table. So I quite like the way this book was laid out, and I like the way that the information was presented. So yes, it is a hefty doorstop, but it is quite easy to get through. Now, so there's whole pages here on character creation. There's the different characters that you've got, different character classes that you've got. The races are all humans. You can play as what they call semi-intelligences, which are some of the alien races. There is some warnings in there about letting that happen as a GM, because it comes sometimes unbalance your game to a certain extent. The artwork in here is great. One of the other things it does is, again, in the introduction, when it talks about the game and the vibe of the game, it does tell you what this game is about. So it uses, modern references to go and look at and try and get a feel for how this game is played. So one of the things it says is go and watch an episode of Firefly. So this game is like Firefly. The premise is a band of people doing things, whatever the things are. You decide as your group when you start the game. So, right, I'm going to be a mercenary band, I'm going to be an outlaw band, I'm going to be free traders. I have this ship, and part of the character creation, the group creation, is you get a ship, you get a patron, and you're indebted to that patron for 50% of the value of the ship. So from day one, you've got motivation to be going out and doing things in order to earn money and pay your patron back. By getting a patron, you also get a nemesis, because there are so many factions in the game itself that by teaming up with somebody, you're going to make an enemy of somebody else. So already you're starting to build up this flow, this ebb and this dynamic that your group will have with the game setting. And there are, let's say, there's published adventures in the back. There are published adventures you can buy, and that's we'll look at one of those when we get through the rest of the unboxing. But I like that. So Firefly was one example. The other example was Alistair Reynolds' set of novels called Revelation Space, which is again about human diaspora and the grand space opera and loads of things happening, these mysterious entities, and then just aliens as a horror theme as well. Sort of the theme that the space between the stars is occupied by demons, dragons, and things that are outside of the map. So one thing I haven't mentioned is that the whole concept of the game is it's called Arabian Nights in Space. So the society that sits behind all the game is Middle Eastern in basis. So there's like supermarkets, there's religion's a big aspect of it, and everybody follows these creatures called the icons. You don't really know much about them. There's 9 of them. There's the dancer, the judge. So these multifaceted gods, and when you build your character, you roll at random and decide which one you're going to follow. So the point you made, David, earlier about praying, you can pray to your icon for intervention, and then that will have an effect if you pass your roll, which again is based on D6s, and say your engine fails and you drift in space, you pray to your icon, and then all of a sudden you punch the keyboard and the engine starts again if you've passed. However, that comes at a price. And this is one of the things that got me excited about the game, is whenever you do something, whenever you use your talents, so they're like feats, whenever you go through a portal jump and you're not in hypersleep, whenever you get attacked in space, or you travel outside of like a solar system or something like that into this interstellar dark zone, you earn what's called dark points. So you get them on the table. You get a little jar, and you put your dark points in a jar, and then if we go into combat, or I want something particularly to happen in order to move the story forwards, I can spend those dark points as the games master and make something happen. I can suddenly decide, right, your engine's going to fail, or your gun's going to jam, or you're going to run out of ammunition at exactly the wrong moment. And I can spend those dark points, and the rules are in the book later on in chapter 15 that tell me what I can do when I spend those dark points. So it's a good way of being able to, you know, extend the fight by making, if the NPCs are getting whooped and I think, well, I need to make this a little bit harder, I can start spending dark points for everybody and your guns jam. So it just throws that extra bit of strategy in there.
So what is it? Is it going to be something that beginners can pick up? Is this for hardcore role-playing gamers?
I think this is for people that are comfortable with role-playing games in general and the concept of a role-playing game. Yeah, I think for a beginner to get into this is going to be difficult. Obviously, it's not impossible.
So this is a Class
you're
A
relying on
RPG.
a DM. This is a top-tier RPG. Yeah.
And what other goodies and accessories have you got with it?
Yeah, I've been going on about that for quite a while. But yeah, the artwork in this book is beautiful. I can't say that enough. You know, the handy guides down the side. You know, the weapons and equipment.
There's a mech. Well, not a mech. That's a rip-off from Aliens. Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
So is the dark point similar to like random events really in this game of sorts, or is it there are random events on the side? Or
there's random encounters. Yeah, the dark points are driven by allowing me as a game master to do something I want to do at a certain point.
Okay.
Yeah. XP is very simple. XP is dished out at the end of the game, and it's based on how you've played in that game. You know, have you moved the game forwards? Have you moved your group forwards? Have you moved your character forwards? Have you achieved your objectives? Because you're supposed to start by stating your objectives at the beginning of the session. Have you worked with your buddy? Have your relationships grown, worsened? You know,
did you blow up the ship?
Yeah. And then we've earned five little XP bubbles or light points, if you want to call them that, and then you can trade that up for a new level, and which means you can go and get another talent or something like that. So it's very simple in that respect, but the concept in terms of this, you know, I'm role playing, I'm being somebody else when I'm playing this game. That's where the difficulty comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some of the ships. So this is a particular ship page that you can have from the start. There's great artwork in there. There's all the statistics. You can choose different subclasses of each of these ships, and you can choose floors as well. So when you're picking your ship, you have to choose a floor. So one of those floors can be an eccentric AI. So exactly Holly from Red Dwarf. So you talked about that earlier. You can have that. That is a thing. So yeah,
we're hitting a lot of red, Steve.
It's a great book. Yep. We'll crack on. Okay.
Let's switch back to that one.
Okay, so after getting that at Dragon Meat, I did go on to Freely's sale that they had. God, I can't remember when it was now. It was early this year. It was during lockdown, but that's been going on for a while, so time blends into one. And I did pick up a few more bits and pieces. So first thing, that I picked up was the DM shield. So this is a 3-panel DM shield that has
high glossy black,
sort of a very glossy back, and it's a sort of interstellar ship, Coriolis Station, and solar flare event going on. So it's lovely artwork, well made. It's a book format, so it does close nice and flat. Now on this page, it's particularly interesting because this ties into the dice system that I was talking about. So normally when things happen, say we were searching for treasure in Pathfinder or D&D, for example, we'd roll D percentage dice. With D6s, you just have D6s. So D percentage has been replaced with a D66 system. So you roll 2D6, and that would be 64. Okay, so I'd look on this table at what 64 is. This is the critical damage table, and I think 64, because that is only 2 below the maximum, I get sucked into space and take vacuum damage, for example. So those rules are on the back, so that's useful. We have all of the equipment tables, the equipment rules. We have the armor and shield hardness values. We have weapon scores. So there's all the useful things you would expect on a DM shield. So that's it's not anything groundbreaking or new. It's it's
No,
a
it's
nice
quick.
thick
It's
card.
quick. It's clean. It's nice and simple. It's quick reference.
Yeah, and it does mean that I, as a GM, don't have to go and flick through that book looking for the particular page reference.
Yeah.
So yeah, very pleased with that. And as I say, it's a nice book format, so it closes up all nice. There's no damage there at all. So that's the Game Master screen. We'll do that one in a moment. We'll talk about this one first. So this is the Atlas Compendium. So the Atlas Compendium expands on all of the settings that you've got in the core rule book by, it's sort of a gazetteer format, if you're used to that sort of term. It's probably about 100 pages. It's nice glossy paper, very similar paper than what is in the core rule book. Art is very much similar to what is in the core rule book, but it expands on some of the other planets that we've got in the star system. So whereas that core rule book talks about the main factions, the main planets, this one does go off and talk about some of the areas on those planets in detail. So we've got the Icon City on that page, for example. We've got Dabaran, which is another star system. It's almost isolated, so some of the star systems in the setting are isolated because the portals have failed, or because the neighbouring star systems have fallen into revolution and ruin, and they're basically overrun by pirates and that sort of stuff. So travelling there, particularly Dabaran, because it's at the end of a loop, is dangerous. But there's lots of interesting things that go on there. So as well as including information about all of these different places, star systems, planets, cities, and what might go on there, it is a useful tool for developing, some of the stuff that you might want to do as homebrew. So it'd still be canon because you've got, actual stuff to base it on, but you can just throw in all this faction stuff going on. You've got planets at the end of unused portals, so you have to go there slower than light. You can have all sorts of things happening when you turn up. There's a history of the horizon in there, so there's a bit of a timeline about what's going on. And then when you get to the back of the book, there is a random system generator, which I thought was really good, because there are star systems, normally details like one planet in that star system, but you could have a planet discovered in one of the main star systems that you just want to build for yourself, and there's all the rules there for doing that. You can just throw any sort of stuff in that you want, and there's tables all down the side for assisting you with doing all of that as the GM. So that is a really good resource book in terms of generating systems. And then you've got your mission generator or your random encounter generator in there as well. So again, build your system. You can populate it with raiders. You can have it as a home base for a particularly nasty political faction that's trying to start a revolution somewhere. And there's all the tables and everything for doing that. So that is a very good resource book, which is why I bought that one. So that is the Atlas Compendium. Now the next one.
Do you get any sort of maps or wall maps and things like that? Pretty popular at the moment. Do you get any goodies?
I didn't. You can. So I didn't. You can get a wall map.
Is it
sorry, I did get a wall map.
Maps?
Yeah, it was in there. Yeah. So I did get one. It's A2 sized. So that is, and that was with the Atlas Compendium. Sorry, I'd forgotten about that. So this is the star map that you've got, and then you've got some details about the star system. And some of these are the routes.
We're hitting a few reds
route.
here. So
the Mirren chain. Okay. Right. So that's a good reference. And again, there's some information there about each of the star systems and the main used routes around them. And then if you flip it over, because this is two-sided, we have map. Sorry, that's upside down. The map of Coriolis Station itself. So that's
So Coriolis
it's
is the name of
small.
the space
I mean, obviously
station,
you
not
couldn't.
anything else. It's
Yes.
not, all right.
No, it's the name of the space station.
Because that picture there, if that
Yes.
is like a vertical ship, what was that? What was that game? Homeworld.
Yeah.
So it's like that vertical ship just tanks along. Okay.
Yeah. So this space station is actually constructed from the Ark ship that arrived at Zenith. So they destructed the Zenith and then built the space station from the part. So yeah, the observation that is almost a vertical starship is very accurate because that is what it was made from.
We are hitting high reds.
So yeah,
we might end up dropping out.
Okay.
Just in case.
Right, we'll crack on. So yes, you do get a poster map. Not necessarily you can use it on the table, other than showing your players and.
But if you had a really nice game room, you could stick on the wall, stick in a frame. Cool.
Yeah. So next I bought was Scenario Compendium. Now scenarios are essentially one-shot adventures. Now there are a series of one-shot adventures in here. So there are 4. So there's the Tailor from Mira, Eye of the Beast, Algebra of the Icons, and the Mahanja Oasis. Now that's on the back there. They are one-shot adventures. They're set on different planets. They have different premises. I think in Tailor from Mira, that involves a bit of investigation because there's 2 families and it's a bit of a Romeo and Juliet love story going on as well. And then the Tailor of Mira is this sort of mysterious fixer, from what I remember when I read it, that could seed into a longer-term campaign. So you've got to purely play them one-shot adventure, or you could play them as starter adventures to then move on into a longer campaign if you decided that was the way you wanted to go. Now, for me, this game, because it is for experienced role players, as we said, I think this is better as a long-term campaign rather than sort of thing we're doing now during lockdown, which is sort of 8-week episodic style mini campaigns. So I don't know how much use I'll get out of this. I originally did buy this because I wanted to run some of these at barbecues, but I'm not sure how well that will work. Obviously,
would you find there's a big learning curve for do you have pre-gen characters that people can pick up and just sort of roll the dice?
I'm not sure if there's pre-gen characters in the back here. I simply can't remember. There's pre-gen NPCs in here. I mean, like a big part of the core rulebook, as I said, is that you're building your group concept, and just that whole idea of building a group concept means that you're putting some investment in terms of this being a long-term campaign. So having this at barbecue, which is you're going to play for 3 or 4 hours and then that's it, I'm not sure how well that works. Saying that though, these are well written. The concepts are good. They're all different. There's a bit of investigation, a bit of combat. There's some good scenarios in there. I'm not sure how this would translate to playing it for 3 or 4 hours, and that would be it. I don't think the learning curve is steep because it's just based on rolling D6s and getting a 6, and getting a 6 wins, and not getting a 6 fails. It's as simple as that. So it's not a high concept to adopt, but you've got to be in this mindset that you are this other person. It is true role playing in its purest form. It's not about a complicated character sheet with a lot of modifiers. It's about the character sheets for these games are on A5 pieces of paper. You don't have a lot of equipment. If you remember back when we played the Alien RPG, it's very simple. It's this is what I am. These are the 4 stats I have. These are the 8 skills I have. These are the dice I'm going to roll. I'm going to talk about what I want to do, and then the GM is going to decide how many dice I need to win in order to pass. So that's so in terms of an experienced role player, that's what you've got to think about, and I think that's maybe the bigger thing that a new player would struggle with. It's I want to do something, describe what you want to do, and then the GM really is the referee to decide how that plays out. But in terms of what is in these books, I say they're well written. The concepts and the scenarios are well thought out and well put together. There is all the information you need in there. As a physical product, they're very good. The paper's good quality. The artwork is excellent, and the artwork is excellent in all of the books that I've got. But I originally bought these to play at the barbecue. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. So we'll just have to see that. However, from what I paid for that, it was good value for money.
Cool.
Now this one, The Dying Ship, is a longer adventure. So this is a full adventure, and then the concept of this
campaign
adventure
as the way we're used to having things.
I think it's something shorter than a campaign, but longer than a one shot. So this is definitely something you play for 3 months, I guess, depending on how often you're meeting. The concept of this is you're on board a dying ship, so you are scavengers. You going there to see what you can find, but this ship is crashing. There is something wrong with this ship, and you've got to get out of there. So there is a time element to it as well. There are handouts.
Ooh, you do like handouts?
Yeah. Now,
is that just a picture of a handout, or do you actually get the handouts?
It's a picture of a handout. Okay. So you would need to photocopy that. You'd need to do some trimming, but at least it has been thought about.
Yeah.
In terms of content, So again, there's another one here, which is a small little map of the ship that you're boarding. So the way that is presented, it would be sort of on a compad or a communicator device or something like that.
Here's something I thought of before: is if you're playing a sci-fi game and you have a blueprint. Now we know that doesn't do anything; it's just a picture. But you encourage players to have an iPad at the table, and then they bring it up, and then they have their blueprint of a map. They can go, I want to go here, here. Now, yes, it doesn't communicate to other players; it doesn't do anything. But just that item of having a map, or even on your mobile phone, you've got this thing that you can interact with. Suddenly becomes there's no point in giving them a digital blueprint on paper when you could in advance send it to them on their device, and then they have to use their device just to navigate and look at the whole map. I think there's an element there that could be quite fun.
Yeah. So
wow.
So again, there's great art. So that's the ice hauler. That's a lovely picture. That really is a great piece of artwork. Yeah, a whole load more handouts. The NPCs in the back here. It's a complete adventure. There are 3 acts in it, so I don't know, probably 8 weeks worth of content, I guess. It's a little bit shorter than a campaign, a little more than just scenarios. But again, the reason I bought both of them is
put them all on the table, Steve, to get a picture of them,
and to give it a go and just see what we thought about it. So I really liked the setting. I liked the concept and some of the game rules as well. I actually like the fact it's not a D20 system, so it's something different. The D6 system does work. I say I have got the Alien RPG as well, which uses the same game system, same D6s. You've got Forbidden Lands, which is again the same D6 system. I think from that point of view, the game is very simple, but from a mind space point of view, you have to be in that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to describe what my character does. The GM as a referee is going to decide how many dice I need to roll.
Just to quickly
which I
point
think-
out to the audience, just in case, if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, we're hitting some high reds, which means we may drop out very soon. If you're watching this on YouTube, it means we made it, we survived. If you're watching this on Twitch, bye. We might lose you any second. So, final word, Steve. How much did all this little bundle cost?
So I know all of the stuff that I bought that wasn't that was £27.
£27 for all of that.
That's
not bad.
Yep, and that included shipping from Sweden.
Wow.
That I can't remember how much it cost me. I think that was £40, maybe.
The book, yeah.
The problem is I bought that and the Alien stuff at the same time, so I can't remember. No, I do know. It was £29.99. £29.99.
Wow. Was that
So,
convention
yeah, all of
discount
that-
and things like that as well, or?
It may have been, yeah. It may have been for that. I don't know. I know the Alien stuff was full price because I looked it up after we got home. So I don't know, but
And just to point out, it was
It's a-
Dragon
it's a
Meet
thick
in the UK, just outside London, or Hammersmith, London. South London.
I actually thought it was further away for some reason.
Dragon Meet.
So
No,
I've
you've
been
got the UK Games Expo is in Birmingham.
Yeah.
But
'cause that was-
Dragon
yeah,
Meet is it's just in Hammersmith. We did a little road trip. 4 of us went up there. 2 of us came
I'll
back.
definitely consider that one next time.
December, Josh. It's in December.
it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. And like I say, the 3 league guys that were there, they were super helpful. Long conversation with the guys about the scenes. We got to play the Alien RPG on their podcast.
Because we
as
got
well,
invited
which
to
was
play,
great.
didn't we? And that was fantastic. And you got through to the final, Steve.
I did. I'm third. So I just missed out on the super luxurious copy of the Alien RPG rules, which has got a nice embossed cover with a face hugger on it and everything.
And we were playing
So, yeah,
against
that was,
a couple of players from RPG Penance. So if you watch this, RPG Penance, hello. Maybe we'll see you again at Dragon Meet again. Who knows?
So the other game I forgot to mention that Free League publishes, Tales from the Loop, which of course is now on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
So yeah, they're very good. They put out some great products, quality wise as well. Content and quality wise.
Cool.
Okay, I'm done.
Right.
So thank you for watching. Dave,
You're stuttering
back.
now, Steve. We're getting some high reds from everyone. We're like, we're doing some Max Headroom, which is fine because it's all sci-fi related.
It is, yeah. Right. So we'll finish quickly then. So thank you for watching and goodbye.
Goodbye.
See ya. Bye.